Let's all stand up. We'll offer a prayer together. Heavenly Father, Divine Mother, friend, beloved God, beloved Masters, Jesus Christ, Babaji Krishna, Lahiri Mahashai, Swami Sri Yukteswar Ji, our beloved Guru, Paramhans Yogananda Ji, saints of all religions, dearest Swami Ji, we humbly bow before you all. Beloved God, Paramhans Yogananda Ji, we thank you for Swami Kriyananda Ji's presence in our lives. Bless our spiritual efforts, that our devotion, service, and attunement be like his. Beloved Swamiji, we thank you for your love and guidance, your eternal friendship that we feel even today in every moment of our lives. Be with us as we make this journey to our eternal home in thee. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Please be seated, friends. We'll start with some chanting. And today I'll be joined by Amarji and Lata for the satsang. This is a 3-hour satsang. We'll have meditations in between, readings, chanting, long chantings. So be with us as much as you can. And of course, those who are attending online, I invite you, if you can now or at different periods, turn on your camera. It would be wonderful to see you on the other side also. Drum. So we'll sing a few songs that were very dear to Swami Kriyananda ji. Some were composed by Yogananda ji, some by Swamiji himself. So please join us in singing. Om, 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 Amen, Amen, Amen. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya, Vasudevaya, Door of my heart, open wide I keep for thee. Door of my heart, open wide I keep for thee. Wilt thou come, wilt thou come, just for once come to me. Wilt thou come, just for once come to me. Will my days fly away without seeing thee, my Lord? Will my days fly away without seeing thee, my Lord? Night and day, I look for thee, night and day. Night and day, I look for thee, night and day. Door of my heart, open wide I keep for thee. Door of my heart, open wide I keep for thee. Wilt thou come, wilt thou come, just for once come to me. Wilt thou come, wilt thou come, just for once come to me. Will my days fly away without seeing thee, my Lord? Will my days fly away without seeing thee, my Lord? Night and day, I look for thee, night and day. Night and day, I look for thee, night and day. Door of my heart, open wide I keep for thee. Door of my heart, open wide I keep for thee. Wilt thou come, wilt thou come, just for once come to me. Wilt thou come, wilt thou come, just for once come to me. Will my days fly away without seeing thee, my Lord? Will my days fly away without seeing thee, my Lord? Night and day, I look for thee, night and day. Night and day, I look for thee, night and day. Door of my heart, open wide I keep for thee. Door of my heart, open wide I keep for thee. Wilt thou come, wilt thou come, just for once come to me. Wilt thou come, wilt thou come, just for once come to me. Will my days fly away without seeing thee, my Lord? Will my days fly away without seeing thee, my Lord? Night and day, I look for thee, night and day. Night and day, I look for thee, night and day. Door of my heart, open wide I keep for thee. Door of my heart, open wide I keep for thee. Wilt thou come, wilt thou come, just for once come to me. Wilt thou come, wilt thou come, just for once come to me. Will my days fly away without seeing thee, my Lord? Will my days fly away without seeing thee, my Lord? Night and day, I look for thee, night and day. Night and day, I look for thee, night and day. Night and day, I look for thee, night and day. night and day, night and day, I look for thee, night and day. Sitting upright, let's gently close our eyes, open our consciousness to the presence of the Masters, Swamiji, that eternal bond and the principle of discipleship. Many of us might be disciples already formally, others perhaps feel it in their heart. But even if you're not a disciple yet formally, that bond, that relationship in God with our Guru awaits us at the right time to flower and to flower completely. Let's open ourselves to that consciousness as I read a few lines of communication between Yogananda ji and Swami Kriyananda. Swamiji's name was James Donald Walters. For reasons Master never explained, he always called him Walter. During the all-day Christmas meditation in 1949, Master said, "Walter, you must try hard, for God will bless you very much." Swamiji once asked Master, "Will I find God in this life?" "Yes," Master replied, "but don't think about it." After a pause, Master continued, "After many lifetimes, everything has balanced out now." And finally, near the end of his life, Master said to Swamiji, "You have pleased me very much. I want you to know that." And we will have other readings, especially from the day, the time Swami Kriyananda ji met Master in 1948 on this day. But for now, let's take this eternal promise, this bond of incarnations, where the Guru awaits the disciple, blesses him, offers his love unconditionally with deep soul respect. And let's sing this chant, Shri Guru Deva Om, Shri Guru Deva Amen. Feel that Swami is singing these words to his master. You are singing this to Swamiji, to our line of gurus. And in our line of gurus also, in the Leela that the masters played, they are singing this. Sri Yukteswarji to Lahari Mahashaya, Lahari Mahashaya to Mahavtar Babaji, Master to Sri Yukteswarji. It's just such a beautiful relationship for that friendship and grace that comes from the Guru to the disciple. Sri Guru Deva Om, Sri Guru Deva Om, Sri Guru Deva Om, Sri Guru Deva Amen, Sri Guru Deva Om, Sri Guru Deva Om, Sri Sri Guru Deva Om, Sri Guru Deva Amen. Sri Guru Deva Om, Sri Guru Deva Om, Sri Guru Deva Om, Sri Guru Deva Amen. Sri Guru Deva Om, Sri Guru Deva Om, Sri Guru Deva Om, Sri Guru Deva Amen. Sri Guru Deva Om, Sri Guru Deva Om, Sri Guru Deva Om, Sri Guru Deva Amen. Sri Guru Deva Om, Sri Guru Deva Om, Sri Guru Deva Om, Sri Guru Deva Amen. Sri Guru Deva Om, Sri Guru Deva Om, Sri Guru Deva Om, Sri Guru Deva Amen. Sri Guru Deva Om, Sri Guru Deva Om, Sri Guru Deva Om, Sri Guru Deva Amen. Sri Guru Deva Om, Sri Guru Deva Om, Sri Guru Deva Om, Sri Guru Deva Amen. Sri Guru Deva Om, Sri Guru Deva Om, Sri Guru Deva Om, Sri Guru Deva Amen. Sri Guru Deva Om, Sri Guru Deva Om, Sri Guru Deva Om, Sri Guru Deva Amen. And we'll take this chant into our meditation for about 15 minutes. This chant is called Blue Lotus Feet. It was one of Swamiji's very dear chants, and especially when he would meet Anand Moima, and I'll share some stories later, she would often ask him to sing this song again and again, and she would call him Choto Chele, my little divine child. So let's think of Swamiji, us all, Master, who used to worship God in the form of Divine Mother primarily. Let us see ourselves through that bond of discipleship, guru-disciple relationship, singing this song of Divine Mother to her. Engrossed is the bee of my mind on the blue lotus feet of my divine mother. Engrossed is the bee of my mind on the blue lotus feet of my divine mother. Divine Mother, my divine mother. Divine Mother, my divine mother. Divine Mother, my divine mother. Divine Divine Mother, my Divine Mother, engrossed is the bee of my mind on the blue lotus feet of my Divine Mother. Engrossed is the bee of my mind on the blue lotus feet of my Divine Mother. Divine Mother, my Divine Mother, 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 engrossed is the bee of my mind on the blue lotus feet of my Divine Mother. Engrossed is the bee of my mind on the blue lotus feet of my Divine Mother. Divine Mother, my Divine Mother, 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 engrossed is the bee of my mind on the blue lotus feet of my Divine Mother. Engrossed is the bee of my mind on the blue lotus feet of my Divine Mother. Divine Mother, my Divine Mother, 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 engrossed is the bee of my mind on the blue lotus feet of my Divine Mother. Engrossed is the bee of my mind on the blue lotus feet of my Divine Mother. Divine Mother, my Divine Mother, 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 engrossed is the bee of my mind on the blue lotus feet of my Divine Mother. Engrossed is the bee of my mind on the blue lotus feet of my Divine Mother. Engrossed is the bee of my mind on the blue lotus feet of my Divine Mother. Engrossed is the bee of my mind on the blue lotus feet of my Divine Mother. Divine Mother, my Divine Mother, Divine Mother, my Divine Mother. Divine Mother, my Divine Mother, Divine Mother, my Divine Mother. Let's take these words from the life of Swami Kriyananda ji into our meditation now for 15 minutes. Paramahansa Yogananda telling his disciple Swami Kriyananda, you have a great work to do. In August 1948, Master experienced a great samadhi, experience of cosmic consciousness, during which Divine Mother spoke both to him and through him. A striking feature of that samadhi were these words she addressed to Master. In the beginning, I sent you a few bad ones to test your love for me. But now I am sending you angels, and whoever smites them, I will smite. Just over a month later, September 12th, 1948, Swamiji arrived. Toward the end of their first meeting, Master said to him, I give you my unconditional love. Let us meditate now, friends, for 15 minutes. Continuing to meditate, let us listen to these words by Swami Kriyananda ji from his first meeting and acceptance as a disciple on September 12th, 1948. This is chapter The Pilgrim Meets His Guide from the New Path, Kriyananda ji's autobiography. I'll read a few lines since this is a rather long chapter. So, Swami knows Master is in a church. He's speaking to his secretary to try to see if Master will see him. He has taken a 4-day, 4-night long bus journey from the East Coast to the West. And he has been told that Master's calendar is busy for the next 3 months. He's not seeing anybody. And if Swami takes lessons, he'll have to wait at least 2 to 2.5 years. And Swami is like a fish out of water. So let's listen to this now. Since you've come such a long way, she said, I'll just ask Master if he'd be willing to see you today. She returned a few minutes later. Master will see you next. Shortly thereafter, I was ushered into a small sitting room. The Master was standing there, speaking to a disciple in a white robe. As the young man was about to leave, he knelt to touch the Master's feet. This was, as I had learned from Yogananda's book, a traditional gesture of reverence among Indians. It is bestowed on parents and other elders as well, and particularly on one's guru. A moment later, the Master and I were alone. What large, lustrous eyes now greeted me! What compassionate sweetness in his smile! Never before had I seen such divine beauty in a human face. The Master seated himself on a chair and motioned me to a sofa beside him. What may I do for you? For the third time that day, these same gentle words. But this time, how fraught with meaning. I want to be your disciple. The reply welled up from my heart irresistibly. Never had I expected to utter such words to another human being. The Master smiled gently. There ensued a long discussion, interspersed by long silences, during which he held his eyes half open, half closed, reading me as I well knew. Over and over again, I prayed desperately in my heart, you must take me. I know that you know my thoughts. I can't say it outwardly. I'd only burst into tears. But you must accept me. You must. Early in the conversation, he told me, I agreed to see you only because Divine Mother told me to. I want you to know that. It isn't because you've come such a distance. 2 weeks ago, a lady flew here all the way from Sweden after reading my book, but I wouldn't see her. I do only what God tells me to do. He reiterated, Divine Mother told me to see you. Again, after a long silence, while I prayed ardently for acceptance, he said, I am taking fewer people now. I gulped. Was this remark intended to prepare me for a letdown? Going on further, Swami writes, gazing at me now with deep love, he said, I give you my unconditional love. Will you give me your unconditional love? Yes. And will you also give me your unconditional obedience? Desperately, though I desired acceptance, I had to be utterly honest. Suppose sometime I asked, I think you're wrong. I will never ask anything of you, he solemnly replied, that God does not tell me to ask. I see, I replied thoughtfully. Then from my heart I said, I give you my unconditional obedience. And on to the last couple paragraphs. I'll read only one from those. And let's feel it in our hearts, this paragraph, as Swami felt. He went on to give me various instructions. Now then, come, kneel before me. I did so. He made me repeat in the name of God, Jesus Christ, and the rest of our line of gurus, the vows of discipleship and of renunciation. Next, he placed the forefinger of his right hand on my chest over the heart. For at least 2 minutes, his arm vibrated almost violently. Incredibly, from that moment on, my consciousness in some all penetrating manner was transformed. I left his interview room in a daze. Norman, on hearing that I had been accepted, embraced me lovingly. It was unusual, to say the least, for anyone to be accepted so quickly. A few moments later, Master came out from behind the open curtain onto the lecture platform. Smiling at us quietly, he said, "We have a new brother." Let's meditate on these words just for a few moments, especially feeling that touch and blessing of the Master on our heart, inviting his consciousness on this day of Swami's discipleship. Om, 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 Good evening, everybody. And as somebody posted on one of our groups this morning, happy birthday. And now you may say, well, maybe it is your birthday. You were perhaps born into the body on this day. But how can it be everybody's birthday at the same time? Well, certainly you can guess by now we are talking of a spiritual birthday, something which is universal, which does not really belong to a body, a gender, a particular age, nationality, and such. Those are, as Maya is defined, divider. It's one of those definitions, smaller definitions, and it has its place. But today we are picking it up from what Yogananda ji, Swami Kriyananda ji, and all the saints they have called the highest relationship of all, discipleship, guru disciple relationship. Today is Swami Kriyananda ji's birthday. He met Yogananda today, as I was reading a few minutes ago, in 1948. And with that meeting, Master said to Swami many times, he said it to others also. He once told a monk, he said, "You should mix with Walter. You have no idea what you have in him." He said, "If Walter had just come a few years ago, we would have reached millions by now." Remember, this is 1948, Master is talking about. And then Master told Swamiji many beautiful things towards the end of his life. He said, "You have pleased me very much as I was reading in God will come to you at the end of your life." Right after Swami came, Master had him start giving Kriya initiations to others, speak in public lectures in Master's own place. Master would not go. He would say, tell Kriyananda, Swamiji's name was not Kriyananda till 1956. Tell Walter that he should go in my place and such. And what Master was doing is something, if you read the autobiography, all gurus do. And this is the crux of discipleship. They work through the disciple. Master, you might say, of course, left his earthly body, as I was saying. It has a birth date, it has to leave. But through Kriyananda ji, I will share a few stories of how I felt Master responded to me. I'm sure Lata and Dr. Amar and all of you, it's universal. Every soul has a journey. So, what is the spiritual birth then? Well, it is after many incarnations, when you start feeling like an orphan. You may have parents, of course, you may have wonderful friends, you may have a lot of wealth, name, fame, but the soul memory starts awakening that there is something terribly missing. It's almost like you have the tallest building in town, but you start getting a sense this foundation is going to collapse. And sure, your earth, your life starts shaking in such a way. Like Swami said, he said, "I came from a wonderful family, brothers and such." He said, "I heard only one argument, and it was not even an argument." He said, "It was a disagreement between my parents. In all my 22 years, I heard a disagreement. Some guests were going to come home, and they were preparing the dining table for that. And Swami's father was insisting on a certain placemat over there, and his mom was insisting on another, and that led to a difference of opinion." And Swami says, "That's all I remember hearing in terms of differing opinions." And so Swami said, and then he was a wonderful singer, playwright, he was talented. Once in college, he was in an Ivy League, what we would call an Ivy League university, now Brown University. They had a wonderful home in New York. His parents, I think maybe one or both, but maybe it was his mom. I remember that side clearly. She had two descendants who had participated in the freedom of America. They had come from the presidents were distant of past presidents of America were distant relatives. They had participated in the Civil War directly. And Swami said that, but something was missing. In college, once the sports event was going on, and they said, this 100-meter dash is about to happen. And Swami said, "Can I run?" They said, "Yeah, why don't you?" He ran, and later they told him he was away from the world record by just about 90 seconds. And they said, "Do you train for these things?" And Swami said, "No, but when I was a child, I used to squat on one leg, called pistol squat, 10 times. And then I would stop because 10 I thought was enough. It's a good number." What I'm trying to say is he was so talented. His family was so wonderful, supportive in every which way. But like I was saying, the soul comes to a point where it says, like Swami said, he put it very simply, "I'm just not happy." And then he said, I need peace. That became, I need clarity. I want truth. I want God. And then when Swami said, when you want God that bad, then the universe arranges itself and a guru is sent. The book came, master came, as you know. And I want to share a little bit because you see, Swami Kriyananda ji passed away 11 years ago. And many people, when they see his videos, which again, remember, that's the surface reality. He said all his life, I am not a guru. I am not a guru. But very fortunately, in the presence of a nice group of people, so because maybe one person can lie, two may forget, three may differ. But when there were 10 people, there's no question of did he say it, did he not? Swami said very softly, gently, he said, I am a guru. And of course, those who were around him, some of them had been with him for 40 years. This is, yes, Swami, you are. And this is not to say, I am a guru. This is to say, Swami was saying, like Padre Pio, at the very last night of his life, the last night of his life, this one man who just couldn't stand him for 50 years. He chased him, persecuted him, interviewed him. That night, also, the same thing was happening. Padre Pio said, I'm about to die. And this man said, well, about time to tell the truth. Tell me so I can tell others that you've been a fraud, you know. And Padre Pio again and again is trying to tell him different stories. And in the end, he started telling him some stories which are parallel to the miracles of the life of Christ. And this man looks at him, shaking his head. He said, what are you telling me? Are you telling me you are another Christ? The core Redeemer himself? Christ is called the Redeemer. And Padre Pio said, no, he's like, try to understand. He said, please understand, I have invited him into my form. And that's what it is all about. Master states it very clearly, Christ consciousness. It's the highest state of super consciousness. And what else will you become if God, Christ, Krishna, Buddha enters you? That's why when I led the prayer today, I prayed to Swami, lead us to thee. Because Master told him, when you find God, you become God. Now, this is again not to say, well, now I am not only a guru, I am God. Because then Master explained, what else will you become? We come from God. We are on a journey of individuality through the mineral, plant, animal, human incarnations. And when we go back, retrace our steps, we enter the kingdom of God through the grace of a guru, through God's grace. And Master said, when you merge in God, it's the state of yoga, oneness, you become Him. So I remember reading the autobiography of a yogi, and it was one of those days I was thinking about all things at the same time. The glaciers are melting, terrorists are bombing this place and that, and politicians are not doing their work, and look what's happening at the environment. And I said, what's really going on? Is somebody in charge of this place, this world? Or, it's like the blind leading the blind. And fortunately, enough sense prevailed. I said, you've thought about these things so many times, it has not helped you. I said, this thought came, why don't you go and buy an autobiography of somebody who had similar questions and found the answers? And the idea was so wonderful. I was like, yeah, why didn't this come to my mind? I said, that's true. Not a fiction, not an article, an autobiography. So I went to a store. I love books, so I knew exactly where to go, which shelf to go, and I went. And I had never seen this book. It was their autobiography of a yogi. And of course, I picked it. I looked at Master's picture, and those eyes were like, good. Now you've done this much. Now buy this book. I was like, how can a picture talk? How can these eyes talk? How can these eyes seem so familiar? Does he know me? And but remember, I had not delved into spirituality before that. So I was like, wow. So I bought the book, I went home, I read it. Of course, like they say, all I think over here, I've read the book about reincarnation, beautiful things, guru disciple relationship. Well, 4 days later, I saw an ad in the newspaper, Master's picture, And below that was a picture of a man whose picture was not in the autobiography I had purchased, autobiography of a yogi. And this was Swami Kriyananda. And it said, direct disciple of Yogananda, launching the Bhagavad Gita in Delhi, where I was staying, very close to my house. And again, I remember seeing that picture and I said, this man is a saint. This is what you become when you become a disciple. I didn't know how old Swami's discipleship was, but I said, he looks like the ripest old man, the most beautiful old man. He had silver hair by then. And I went to his talk that day. There was Sheila Dikshit ji, Karthikeyan ji, other worldwide heads of different organizations, and they all spoke before him. But when he came out, one thing that came through him, I remember, was childlike. He was so childlike. He kept saying, my guru told me this, my guru helped me write this book. And I thought, here's an 80-year-old man. By that time, most people, nowadays, people are talking of becoming your own boss in your 20s, 30s, 40s. I said, here's an 80-year-old man who clearly is so different from other respected people I'm seeing on the stage. But I said, he's like a little child. He's saying, my father told me this, my mother told me this, and then my brother told me. He's always referring to my guru, my guru. And that is where the simplicity of his discipleship lies. He had become like his guru. He told us, he said, I don't know now where Kriyananda ends and Yogananda begins, because it was like a japa, my guru. He said, I would wake up every morning and I would say these, my prayer all my life has been. He said, I look at the picture of my guru and I pray to God through the eyes of my guru and I say, may thy will be done, not mine. This is your life, Mother, Divine Mother. This is your body, Divine Mother. This is your time, Divine Mother. What would you like to do? Master, what would you like to do? And you can see, if you study his life, even 3 hours is not enough to cover how much he did, and see how he accomplished. And he would say, I didn't do it. There's another beautiful video of him in YouTube. He's part of a movie, if you want to watch, called The Titans of Yoga. Heavy title for a person who's practicing yoga. And so Swami goes, it's a Hollywood premiere going on, and people are dancing, light flashes, music. And this lady comes, and Swami was so weak, but he had to go because they had invited him. He was on a wheelchair. Jyotish ji is pushing him on the wheelchair. And this lady comes, she said, Swami Kriyananda. She says, you, sir, are a titan of yoga. What are your thoughts about it? And Swami says, well, I don't know about that, but my guru, and again, there he went. And it's a small little interview of 4 minutes. You can see at the end, she says, our viewers and everybody is waiting. Of course, you have given the interview in the movie, but can you give us some words of advice? What has yoga taught you? And Swami right away says, that I don't exist. And she's like, oh, okay, thank you. And she's like, oh, thank you, Swami Kriyananda. But think about it, friends. Yoga means you become one with everything. And that is true. And Swami said, but the way you're talking about me, looking at me, defining me, I don't see myself as that at all. So, discipleship on one level, like somebody asked Swamiji that, do I need a guru? And Swami says, no. And Jyotish, Deviji, many others were sitting next to him. This was in 2011. They looked at Swami that all his life, his teaching has been, you need a guru. We all need a guru. And not only Swami's teaching, this is the teaching of Sanatana Dharma. You cannot find God. You can be a good person without a guru, but you cannot find God without a guru. And Swami says, no, no, you don't need a guru. And this lady is like, okay, a journalist, okay. And Swami says, unless you're serious about finding God. And again, you can see that there was no pressure, there was no push over there. He was just stating things as they were. Now, I once met towards the end of Swami's life a man who had come. I won't divulge too many details, but he's the son of a very renowned saint. And he told me, he said, Aditya, for 45 years, I asked my parent, who initiated tens of thousands of people at the least personally into meditation, to teach me how to meditate. And the parent would say, oh, do this service, do this work, do that project, take on this, help those people. And he said this was the very end of my parents' life. And one day my parents said, you know, what are you sitting on that stool doing nothing? Why don't you go learn how to meditate? And imagine you tell somebody, teach me how to meditate for 45 years. And they say, why don't you learn how to meditate? And he's like, where should I? So he said, okay, I'm ready. And they said, no, I'm not going to teach you. Go to Ananda. I want you to go to Swami Kriyananda and learn how to meditate. So this man comes. I'll actually tell you, it's a fun story. Amar, may I borrow some of your meditation time? So, because I had not planned to share this story, but so this man comes from the Himalayas, old school, very sweet, very simple, very childlike. He wrote on a paper the address of Ananda. This was January 2009. We had just come to Pune city. So he must have some address and the address, and he put it in his pocket. And he thought, while I'm going though so far, I'll go to Mumbai to meet some friends, and from there I'll go to Pune. None of us knew he's coming. There was no communication. Like I said, we were really setting up phones, mobile phones, internet at that time. So he comes. So he goes to Mumbai and he's staying with somebody. And next day he sits on a bus to come to Pune. And then the driver announces, Pune is about to come. We are going to stop at these places. Get off where you have to. And this man looks in his pocket for that paper. But unknown to him, in the evening, his kurta was very sweetly washed by his hosts and cleaned and ironed once again. And he told me when we met, he said, I just saw this ball of paper. I could do nothing. And so he called a friend. He said, can you pick me? I'm stranded on the highway. I got off at this place. This man said, Bhaiya, what are you doing there? And if you were coming, because he's very well known, oh, you should have told us. He said, I'll explain everything. Pick me up first. And they pick him up and they're sitting and he says, this is still like 8 a.m., 7:30, 8 a.m. And he says, how did you come to Pune? He said, my parent told me to learn how to meditate. And he said, I was, I had to come to an organization in Pune, but I couldn't, I've lost the address. This is what happened to my address paper. This man said, well, anyways, you are here. Do you remember the name of the organization? He said, oh, yeah, they are called Ananda. And he said, who is their leader? He said, oh, Swami Kriyananda. He recently moved to Pune. He said, Swami Kriyananda ji, he's in the next building. I know one of their monks. He runs a library. He's my friend. And I was that monk. So he calls me. He says, hey, thanks for picking up my phone early morning. Can I come home with a guest right now? It's really urgent. I said, come. And this man comes. I mean, there are 70 lakh people in Pune. Your mother tells you to go there. You lose the address, but you still reach the destination at the same time. And then he met Swami. They met many other times. I was always there at that time. And then one time Swami gave him a book, Paramhans Yogananda biography. And he said there were 7 people. He gave them each a book. And he said, this is for your mother. So he called me from the Himalayas when he went back. He said, you won't believe what happened, Aditya. He said, I reached home. I gifted the book. I brought it out of my bag. My mother didn't even open the wrapping. And she said, this book will be a success. Interestingly, that was the day Kriyananda ji was launching that book in Mumbai. There were 1,500 people in attendance. 400 could not get inside the auditorium. And so that book was a success. Then she said, the author is no ordinary disciple. His guru is very great, but Kriyananda himself is a very great disciple. She said his discipleship is the rarest of the rare kind in this world. So, how did Swami do this? Anand Moima another time told him, there was another disciple next to her, and Ma was praising Swamiji. He was not her disciple. He would visit her once in a while. And this lady said, he's not your disciple. He's not an Indian. He does not do our practices. Why do you praise him? Who is he after all? And Ma simply said, you know, this is Anand Moima. She said, there are Anand Moima. She said, Anandamayi is a lotus. And there are many frogs who are living around her. And she said, Kriyananda is like a bee. He comes, he sits on the lotus, drinks the nectar, and knows how to fly away. And that ability to not only draw, as I was saying, from one's own powers, that I am from such a family, these are my skills. Well, that's wonderful. That's where, unfortunately, the world focuses on the form, on the outward reality. But Swami says the only thing that matters is your closeness in God, your I don't exist. He says, how many people can say that? All is Vasudev, all is Vasudev. God alone exists. God alone is the doer. So, for somebody to be able to see that, to first of all want that, and to be able to work in that direction, to be able to accomplish that, is something that I found very inspiring. Now I'll close with this story, because many times, and many of you did not meet Swamiji, don't worry about it. I'll tell you a story right now. Then the onus is on you. The ball will be in your court. Swami left his body. Anil and I had gone to Italy when that happened in 2013, April 21st. And at that time, you know, he had wanted his body to finally be buried in Ananda village in California, where it rests now. And that took 5 days to arrange. And so in those 5 6 days, his body was kept in the Temple of Light in Assisi, and for people to come and pay their respects. And we were very fortunate. We got our visa very miraculously, and then we went. But one of my very good friends, a founding member of that community, told me that story. They invited us home for a dinner, and she said, you know what happened yesterday, which was now the third day. So what happened to her on the second day after Kriyananda's passing? I said, what happened? She said, last week, I and my husband had gone to see Swamiji to take his blessing, to be with him. And she said, I actually wanted a spiritual name. I'm looking for peace, which is one of the 8 aspects of God. And she said, I'm looking for deep peace in my life right now, Aditya. So I thought I'll ask Swamiji for a spiritual name. Anyway, they didn't mention it, and they went, and Swami started talking, having tea. He invited others. They had a wonderful time. And Swami went back to the initial days. And he again and again thanked them for what they had done. Anyway, meeting ended, satsang ended, they left. And when they were putting on their shoes, she said to her husband, we forgot the one thing we had come for, to get a spiritual name. And he said, now Swami is so tired. Maybe a week or two later, you can again write him. And she said, okay. Well, he left his body a few days later. So there was a vigil, 24 hours. Swami's body was there. Somebody or the other would be there. So this lady said that on the second night, after midnight, she said, I was alone in the temple. I was meditating. His form, his body was there. And she said, this shaft of light this wide came from his blue light, came from his body into my heart and brain. And Swamiji was on that side of the tunnel of light, and she was, of course, receiving this. And Swami said to her, remember, her name was Graziella, and she wanted a name pertaining to peace. And Swami said to her, Shanti Ma. Now imagine, this is Dr. Amar, I call him Gaurav. He's like, so Swami says, Shanti Ma. And she was like, eh? Swami says, Shanti Ma. And she says, Swami, are you talking to me? He said, I don't see anybody else around. And he started laughing. And she said, is that my spiritual name? He said, of course. And then he said, you didn't guess this would happen, did you? And then again he laughed, and then he blessed her, and the vision receded. Now, next day she was serving in the kitchen. So somebody said to her, Graziella, can you give me that pan? And she said, oh, sure. But by the way, my name now is Shanti Ma. Now, till that time, only Swami gave names. And the person said, okay, but who gave you that name? And so she told her the story. This person was as wide-eyed as you can imagine. And then Shantima thought, maybe this story is going to go out like wildfire. I don't want to maybe live with that. And she thought, maybe this was a personal experience between Swami and me. And she excused herself from the kitchen. She went to his form. She prayed to him. Swami, forgive me. Am I supposed to share this? Am I not? And she said, he instantly came back in the vision. And he said, of course, that's your spiritual name. People should call you Shantima. And she said, okay. And he said, now I want you to tell them one more thing. And this is the important thing I'm telling you, friends. Swami said, please tell them that just as I came to you, I can come to each one of them. But they have to call out to me. Otherwise, I cannot come. Such is the divine law. Remember autobiography's opening line? India is known for, I'm paraphrasing, disciple guru relationship. Guru is always there. Swami said he was a guru. Like, we don't talk about it, but Gyana Mataji, Master said, in order to become a free soul, you have to free at least six others, at least to the stage of a Jivan Mukta. But Master didn't told that to Swami in private. And Gyana Mataji then passed away. And Master says, Gyana Mata, he said, sister is now completely liberated. Swami had this thought, how can she be completely liberated? She would have, did she have disciples? And Swami says, in the crowd, Master looked at him at that time and he said, sister had disciples. So the point is, this is such like God. How we can try to talk about him, we can try to put him in an image. We worship Guru as God, but God is a form, but he's beyond the form. Guru is a form, he's beyond the form. So these are very soft, subtle, sacred realities that exist, fortunately exist. And I started with that story because there was another friend of mine. He told me, he said, Aditya, the day my Guru left his body, the last few words he told his disciples was that after I go, the organization will continue. And today, by the way, decades after the Guru has left, the organization has some world records to their name. He said, but remember, from tomorrow, people will come empty handed, they will go empty handed. He said, because I am the last of the gurus. So the master said he was the last in the line of gurus. But Master said we have to produce saints. So Kriyananda ji is not a guru of the work. He's not a guru in the line of gurus. Those are 5 avatars we have. But Kriyananda was a saint. He was a guru of the work, in the work, sorry, not of the work, but in the work. Because if we are not producing saints, then what are we really doing? Swami used to say. So keep that in mind, that the power of discipleship, the tests of discipleship, it is a deep subject. Discipleship, like Swami said, is not for slim hips and weight loss. Somebody once asked me, आपके योगा से वजन कम होता है, that by practicing your yoga will I lose weight? I said, absolutely. I said, you will lose the weight not only of this incarnation, but all your past lives. And she said, really? How? What does that mean? I said, sit down. We go into yoga, the yoga. So it's a very sacred gift that has come into your life and mine, friends. I every day when I think about it, I was like, I don't hear all that much, in the world out there. The world is, I'm not judging it, criticizing it, because after all, it is God's creation. But like Swami was like that fish outside the water, the way he was yearning for that one thing that matters, not the gifts, but the giver of the gift, for God. And then life continues. You could be a monk, you could be a householder, you could run an organization. Swami once said to me, he said, my life was one of intense activity and meditation. And he said, yours will be also. You can imagine there was certainly a lot of joy because for somebody to spell it out, but seeing his life, there was a lot of trepidation which still continues, and an unwillingness. That which yogi wants intense activity? Very few, I think. It's usually considered a rajasic activity. But if your guru tells you to do it, that's what it is. So anyway, I was living with it, and I'm still living with it. I ask for his grace. But I remember us monks, after Swami's passing, we went to the Himalayas, especially a place called Abbot Mount, which is next to Lohaghat Valley, where Kriyananda ji had taken a seclusion. And he said, those 2 weeks were some of the most divinely peaceful of his life. He said, if it was not my karma to come down, I would have stayed in those hills and never seen another person. But he said, I had to come down, and I did. So, anyway, we were finally there. Somebody had offered us a house, and all the monks were in silence for a week. So, before we slept, I was in my tent and I prayed to Swamiji. I said, Swamiji, this is after his passing. I said, Swamiji, please bless me and all my brothers with the same peace that you experienced over here decades ago. And I slept. My alarm was for 5:30. I had a dream, which must be around 5:28, 5:29 in the morning. I had a dream, and Swami comes in my dream. Can you give me your phone, Anil? Because that's very close to what happened. Swami comes in my dream. He says, "How are you?" I said, "I'm very well, Swamiji." He didn't waste any time. He says, "Do you have one of these?" And it was a white smartphone. I'm showing you the white side. He showed it like this, but I could see it was white. He said, "Do you have one of these, Aditya?" I said, "No, Swamiji." He said, "Why don't you buy one? Because this is exactly what you need." And he smiled. And even in the dream, I was confused. I prayed for divine peace and silence in the hills. And your guru, now the good thing is, the punishment is he shows you a smartphone. It's like a punishment to the ego. But the blessing is that he's not dead. Even after he has gone, he comes, he guides, he corrects through your thoughts, through dreams, through visions, through prayers, through others. I'll tell you another beautiful thing. One time after his passing, again, I was doing two meetings one morning. There was a 5-minute gap. So I thought, oh, coffee is over. Let me get another coffee before the next meeting starts. So I ran down with my mug in our old center, and we had to cross the temple behind which was the kitchen. So just as I was going, and again, I'm sharing some of these personal stories, friends, so that you realize that again, as I've been emphasizing, these chaotic, difficult outward times, the eyes of the masters don't even blink. They know what you need, they give it when you need it. We have to stay in touch with them. And so I was going for coffee, and I had this feeling come from the altar, very clear. The farther we go from God, the more Swami says the swing of duality is wide. Karma, action, and reaction. And they take time sometimes. But Swami says when you feel God very close, it happens very quickly. It's like the pendulum is like that. So I remember in that moment, I had this feeling from the altar, would you like a blessing? But interestingly, right after the question, it was very kind of them to ask a question, but the answer was also given. So it's not like they were really asking me. They said, would you like a blessing? But then the blessing was also told what the blessing will be. It's like Master said, what I give you, take. So I said, yes. So I took a cushion, I sat down. Then immediately, without wasting any time, they said, through whom would you like the blessing? Now remember, this was the altar, the masters speaking. Swami had left his body, and the question comes, through whom would you like the blessing? Before I could think, the suggestion was given of one of our acharyas who now lives in the US or who has been in the US for a long time. So the question was given, through whom do you want the blessing? And the person was suggested. And I immediately bowed and I prayed. I said, Sir, if it is your will, may I receive this blessing? The blessing was there. And a blessing like this is very engrossing. I was like, wow, this is wonderful. And then God does not blink an eye. Just after a few moments, the feeling came, don't you have a meeting in a few minutes? I said, I do. And the suggestion was, let's wrap this up nicely. So I thanked them. I thanked the instrument, made my coffee, and I was ready for another meeting. Why is this important? As I said, Master has left our line of gurus, their body, I should say, they have left. But like Master said, to those who think me near, I will be near. And Swami said through that one Guru Bhai of ours, just as I came to you, I can come to each one. And the third story, last story, is very important because Swami says, when your guru or line of gurus are avatars, they work through instruments, which is how the third story was. So it's a very sacred, subtle, beautiful path. But when Babaji told Master, through you, the original teachings of Sanatan Dharma and Christianity must come back, I feel it's not only the work that the Masters and Swami had to do, the empowerment comes. The spoken word carries a power which flows through willing instruments. And I am grateful for all eternity to Swami Kriyananda ji for leading his life. It was not an easy life. Like he said, I want my actions, my thoughts, and my feelings to only convey Yogananda's feelings. So when even one soul perfects themselves to that degree, the blessing is visible to all of us. We are sitting here because of Swami Kriyananda, coming to India because of Ananda, because of him going worldwide. Ananda today has more than 200 meditation groups and centers worldwide, started by Swami Kriyananda ji and the people he empowered. So it's a beautiful blessing that the masters have come into our lives now as disciples, just as Swami did, not only for our sake, but for the sake of many, many others. Ultimately, this world is one family. Let us ask them, Master, I am here this morning. What can I do? How can I be your disciple? How would you like to live through me? Like Padre Pio said, when you invite Christ, he will come, he will take over. And again, Saint Teresa of Avila said that. In Hanuman's case, you can see that the body, the ego, the mind, the feeling have to be offered very consciously in discipleship. That this is what else would I do? Like Swami said. So blessed discipleship to you all. Count your blessings, friends, as I do mine. And I look forward now to having Amarji take us forward into some sharing and meditation. Jai Guru. Audible? Thank you.
Let's take this chant, friends, from those beautiful inspirational words from Adityaji that we heard. Let us remember God, that ultimately it is God's light which flows through all these gurus and reaches us as disciples when we walk on the path. So remembering God in this beautiful chant, O God beautiful. O God beautiful, O God beautiful, O God beautiful, O God beautiful. At thy feet, O I do bow. At thy feet, O I do bow. O God beautiful, O God beautiful, O God beautiful, O God beautiful. At thy feet, O I do bow. At thy feet, O I do bow. O God beautiful, O God beautiful. In the forest thou art green. In the forest thou art green. In the mountains thou art high. In the mountains thou art high. In the river thou art restless. In the river thou art restless. In the ocean thou art grave. In the ocean thou art grave. O God beautiful, O God beautiful, O God beautiful, O God. At thy feet, O I do bow. At thy feet, O I do bow. O God beautiful, O God beautiful, O God beautiful, O God beautiful. To the serviceful thou art service. To the serviceful thou art service. To the lover thou art love. To the lover thou art love. To the sorrowful thou art sympathy. To the sorrowful thou art sympathy. To the yogi thou art bliss. To the yogi beautiful, oh God, beautiful, oh God, beautiful, oh God, beautiful. At thy feet, oh, I do bow. At thy feet, oh, I do bow. Oh God, beautiful, 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 oh God. Let's take this chant and remember about Babaji, who is none other than Krishna, as we play this chant of Hare Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare 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 Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Hare Rama, 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 Hare Hare, Hare Hare Guru, 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 Hare Hare, Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare 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 Hare Krishna, Hare Hare. Let's meditate for a few minutes, friends, remembering that God and gurus, if God is the final creator of this universe, the gurus are the channel through which we receive his light, as God can only work through the instruments. And as in the first chant, we chanted, O God, beautiful, and in the next chant, we remembered Krishna and Babaji, those who are that ray of light which is coming from God. And this whole Ananda can also be seen as a ray of light extending from Babaji Krishna, coming to us through the line of gurus. And finally, from Swami Kriyananda ji, we are receiving this light coming from God Himself. Let us meditate, keeping in mind this whole lineage, this whole having the gratitude for all our line of gurus and God Himself. We'll meditate for about 10 minutes. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Evening, friends. S- As Aditya was sharing such inspiring talk about Swami Kriyananda ji, some of us could see him in physical body, but as he said, it is not the physical body which is important. He is right here with us. He will continue to be with each one of us uh, to the extent we invite him. That is, I think, the key. That so the this fateful meeting, as Aditya was reminding us, happened almost 77 years ago, 1948, 12th September. But this thought, Namaskars, this thought is always, something which it was appearing to me that was it in this lifetime? Yes, Swamiji met on 12th September 1948, but was it the first time that he was meeting Yogananda? Certainly not, because few years back, or I mean, during his lifetime, he did ask Yogananda that have I been your disciple, Guruji, for thousands of years? And to which Yogananda said, all I would say, my dear, is that it has been a very long time, which is to say that it could be more than thousands of years also. And that shows that how long is this relationship sometimes between a guru and a disciple. And it is not that even in this lifetime we may see, okay, this meeting happened on so and so date, but it is actually a whole process which could be, happening for many incarnations together. And there is a beautiful excerpt which and this is true for every guru disciple relationship. So this is something which happened between Babaji and Lahadi Mahashay also. And there is a very beautiful description when Babaji met Lahadi Mahashay in Ranikhet, and there Lahadi Mahashay was actually, and this is how these avatars play with us, because of course he was knowing all his sequence of events, the way his life is going to happen, and Lahadi Mahashay was an avatar himself, but they were behaving like as if he was meeting his guru for the first time, and he was not able to recognize Babaji. That I don't know, who are you? I'm getting late. I have to reach my office. And to that, Babaji had to remind him. He had to, the moment, when he showed him his place where he used to meditate and so many things we know from Autobiography of a Yogi, but he was not able to remember anything. And then he places his hand on his forehead, and immediately he understands, okay, this was my blanket and this was my, cave where I used to meditate in my previous lifetime. But then Babaji tells him one very important thing, and these are the words that he spoke to Lahadi. He said, for more than 3 decades, he's talking about that particular lifetime, because he met in the third decade. Lahadi Mahashay, he met Babaji in the third decade. So Babaji is saying to Lahadi Mahashay, for more than 3 decades, I have waited for you here, waited for you to return to me. Babaji's voice rang with celestial love. Though you lost sight of me, never did I lose sight of you. I pursued you over the luminescent astral sea where the glorious angels sail. Through gloom, storm, upheaval, and light, I followed you like a mother bird guarding her young. As you lived out your human term of womb life and emerged a babe, my eye was ever on you. When you covered your tiny form in the lotus posture under the Nadia sands in your childhood, I was invisibly present. Patiently, month after month, year after year, I have watched over you, waiting for this perfect day. Now you are with me. So you see, that whole small passage, small, those words. Certainly, Lahadi Mahasaya was an avatar himself. He was knowing about that this meeting will happen in my third decade. It was not new to him. This is all drama, divine drama that they were playing. But this is to remind us that how our gurus watch us. Even when we are in our womb life, even before we take a womb, for that matter, when we are in the astral plane, and then when we are a tiny toddler maybe and going to our school days, as Adityaji was saying, that I was having this anguish in my heart that I am, what is this life all about? So you see, Guru is following us during those days also. These are the word, that is why Swamiji, when he met, it was not the first meeting which was happening between him and his Guru. He was his Guru for a very long time. And that is the beauty of this stanza, is that there are three things which come to our mind that about this guru disciple relationship. One is that how much love and compassion they have for ourselves, because even as a parent, if you see, sometimes we become impatient with our children when we have to train them. And the second thing which it tells us about this relationship is that undaunting patience they have. This is not easy. It's just for that matter, for so many incarnations, they are actually following one disciple maybe, or a child, to make him perfect and help him to realize God, to the extent he's allowing him to work on himself or herself. Undaunting patience, love and compassion, an eternal commitment, till the point, that he's there. And he when he says, I was invisibly present, the days, when we are feeling low, or when we are feeling depressed, when we feel, okay, maybe my guru doesn't love me, or maybe I have been forsaken, these are the words to remember, that my guru is invisibly present with me at that time also, because he's following me the way, the day when I say that, okay, you are my guru and I want to be your disciple. So the gurus from that day onwards, maybe that promise we made in one of our lifetimes, and from that lifetime onwards, our gurus are watching over us, just like a mother bird, he says, watches over his young ones, over her young ones. And that is something, which I thought is a beautiful, this sacred relationship between a guru and disciple, that uh, I thought is inspiring from the Lahadi Mahashayas and relationship between Babaji and Lahadi Mahashay. There is another story which actually happened between Yukteswarji and Babaji, and I would like to just share that. And there are certain things which we can learn from there. This meeting happened actually in the Kumbh Mela, where Yukteswar ji was a little skeptical about, how some not so evolved sadhus were also over there. And he was, in two minds, that is it really making sense? Because Yukteswar ji, again, if you see, Yukteswar ji is an avatar, but all these things are written in the autobiography for us, us, to understand, okay, we get skeptical, we get intellectual, to help us. So this meeting, when it happened, and Yuktesh Babaji told him, there is this conversation which happened between them, and so how it goes. So Babaji tells him, at my request, Swamiji, and at that time even the Swami title was not there given to him, but he addresses him as Swamiji. At my request, Swamiji, please undertake another task. The great master said, will you not write a short book on the underlying basic unity between the Christian and Hindu scriptures? Show by parallel references that the inspired sons of God have spoken the same truths now obscured by men's sectarian differences. And then Yukteswarji answers, Maharaj, I answered diffidently, what a command! Shall I be able to fulfill it? Babaji laughed softly. My son, why do you doubt? He said reassuringly, indeed, whose work is all this? And who is the doer of all actions? Whatever the Lord has made me say is bound to materialize as truth. And then Yukteswarji says, I deemed myself empowered by the blessings of the saint and agreed to write the book. Now, very interestingly, if you see in this meeting, it does talk about the doubts that come to a disciple. When Guru is telling him to take a task which he feels, okay, I'm not capable of. Maybe I will falter or I won't be able to do it. And Babaji reminds him, why are you doubting? Are you not seeing that it is God only who is working behind all of us? God will give you the power to do it. And at that time, if you see, Swami Yukteswarji was not knowing that this meeting is actually happening between Babaji and himself. When he comes back and to give the message to Lahadi Mahashay, and he tells him about this great sadhu, he said, "Have you could not recognize him? He was Babaji." He said, "Oh, how could he?" He said, "I can now understand that he himself was avoiding to disclose his identity, which he sometimes does." So you see why he came to him as a sadhu. Yukteswarji was not knowing. Had he was he knowing that, okay, this is coming from Babaji, maybe he would have accepted it like that only. But he was having his doubts in his minds. But then there's another thing, which if you see the kind of book Swami Shri Yukteswar did write that book, we know that this book is Holy Science. But Swami Kriyananda ji also wrote a book on parallel theme when he showed the parallel teachings between Christianity, Bible, and Bhagavad Gita. With the satsang, the book on based on which we have satsangs on Sunday is actually the Rays of One Light. If you see, that is one book which talks about Bhagavad Gita teachings and Bible. Promise of Immortality also is another book. Now, the thought which came to my mind was that could it be possible that Babaji, when he was instructing Swami Shri Yukteswarji to write this book, and then Yukteswarji guiding Swamiji to write and give expression to the same book for this new age, so that we can understand it better. So if you see, the lineage of gurus flows down. Ultimately, somebody asked, whose work is this, to maybe to one of the acharyas, and that acharya was very clear in his mind and expression when he said that it is Babaji's work. Ultimately, if you see, this is how the chain of gurus is working behind the scenes. And that is how this book actually, when we read, so much clarity comes to our mind that yes, the truths that are written in Bible and Bhagavad Gita are actually the same. So these things, which I was reading, friends, is bringing 2 3 points, which are very important over here. One is that there was a meeting which actually happened between during Yogananda's time, and Rajarshi Janakananda, as we know, was his one of his advanced disciples. And Yogananda ji told him that in the astral plane, when you will be free, you will be able to work through your disciples much more, and probably to that extent you were not able to do in the physical body. And that is how these masters, they work with us. As Aditya ji was saying, that our gurus are not dead, they are not having a physical body. That is the only difference. And they are right with us, and they keep on inspiring us. At one time, there was one of these acharyas who was feeling very sad and disappointed when Swamiji left his body. And because they were very close to Swamiji and they always felt his presence and love. And as this lady was in a very pensive mood and having thoughts about Swamiji, and immediately this thought was became very powerful in her mind, that what makes you think that I'm not there right now? Which is to say that he is with us all the time. And as Yogananda reminded, if you think me near, I will be near. And in this sense, somebody actually asked Swamiji also at one time, Swamiji, how much could you do in your lifetime? Have you finished whatever you wanted to do as a disciple of Yogananda? He said, no, not at all. Maybe I have done only 10% of the things which I wanted to do. Now, here is this beauty that even when he's not in a physical body, we as disciples, if we allow him to work through our bodies and minds, can help him to do that rest of the 90%, which he could not do when he was in the physical body. So that is one thing which probably I feel is one of the things we should meditate on this guru disciple ceremony. The other thing, friends, which I feel is another important thing, that this is a point of confusion which I also had to a large extent, because of this statement which sometimes is misquoted or maybe misunderstood, when Yogananda wrote that I am the last of the line of the gurus, which actually has been misinterpreted probably. And many times, I always had this confusion: is Yogananda my guru, or is Swami Kriyananda my guru? And there's a beautiful uh, YouTube video actually which I was listening to. There, Swamiji does clarify this point. If you look at it, at one point, Swamiji asked Yogananda that should a guru be in a physical body all to have the blessings? And to that, Yogananda replied that one physical touch with your guru is essential. Now, if you see, what was he saying? He was he had to go as a physical body, and so how the physical touch will come to us, those who have not seen, or those who have not met Yogananda? So that physical touch came to many of us through Swami Kriyananda, which many of us actually received from him. But then after Swami Kriyananda, what will happen to people, those who will come later on? That doesn't mean that if Swamiji is not there in a physical body, that physical touch nobody will be able to give us. That lineage, or that line of that ray of light, will certainly pass through many channels after this line of avatars through his disciples. And these channels will continue to bring those disciples to these line of avatars. And that is why this confusion, which was there inside me, but actually got clarified when I was listening to this talk. And there was no doubt that physical touch came to me from Swami Kriyananda. I haven't met Yogananda, and that precious touch which came to me from him was actually Yogananda's light only, which he was sharing. As Adityaji was saying, that he became so one with Yogananda that he was not able to understand where he was beginning and Yogananda was ending, and vice versa. So this is something, another thing which also Yoga Swamiji said in that talk, is that ultimately the destiny for each one of us is to merge with God, is to become one with God. But before we become one with God, we have to free six other souls and bring at least six other souls to God, closer to liberation. That means that each one of us, for each one of us, this is a destiny, that you also will become a channel one day for many six others who will come through you, which is this is how the God's light works through all of us. It may not happen in one lifetime, it may happen in one lifetime, but this is how God's law is working through us. So, on this beautiful day, when we are remembering this guru disciple relationship, when we see this whole lineage of gurus, starting from God and Babaji, Lahari Mahashaya, Yukteswarji, Yogananda, and Swami Kriyananda, it's not, as Yogananda sometimes said, you're not connected to a printing press. You are connected with a live line of gurus. And this is how, if we, in our hearts, we say, okay, God, to what extent, please, if I offer myself to you, if I offer my body and mind, my heart to you, please work through me, then what will happen? Not only you will become a channel, but you will receive many blessings, because Yogananda said that the channel is blessed by what flows through him. So that is something which we have to remember. And in this regard, I think there is no point in feeling shy. But yes, maybe it may take some time to come to that point and to that understanding that, yes, I will also have to offer myself. Ultimately, what is this life all about? And this is to that degree, if we allow. And that is how, gurus, they are always, waiting, because they will not impose their will on us, and they are always waiting for that invitation, as Aditya ji was saying. If you will invite me, I'll come. And so let us close with this. And I'll play one chant because this is just to remind us that if we keep our hearts open, then we can receive Guru's blessings. So let us do a short meditation on this thought. And this chant is a reminder for all of us to open our hearts so that He can flow through us. Tushar, can we dim the lights? Yeah. Door of my heart, open wide I keep for thee. Door of my heart, open wide I keep for thee. Will thou come, will thou come, just for once come to me. Will thou come, will thou come, just for once come to me. Will my days fly away without seeing thee, my Lord? Will my days fly away without seeing thee, my Lord? Night and day, night and day, I look for thee, night and day. Night and day, night and day, I look for thee, night and day. Door of my heart, open wide I keep for thee. Door of my heart, open wide I keep for thee. Will thou come, will thou come, just for once come to me. Will thou come, will thou come, just for once come to me. My days fly away without seeing thee, my Lord. My days fly away without seeing thee, my Lord. Night and day, night and day, I look for thee, night and day. Night and day, night and day, I look for thee, night and day. Door of my heart, open wide I keep for thee. Door of my heart, open wide I keep for thee. My heart open wide I keep for thee. Door of my heart open wide I keep for thee. Let's sit in silence for 2 minutes, just feeling our receptivity for this lineage of gurus and God, and offering ourselves in body, mind, and feelings that they can use us as channels and flow through us to bring many more souls through us to God. Let us meditate for 2 minutes. Om Shanti. Shanti. Now I'll request Lataji to come and share her inspiration.
Thank you so much, Adityaji and Amarji, for that inspiring celebration of the lineage of gurus that we are celebrating along with Swami's discipleship anniversary today. And I wish you many, many blessings because we are all children of that divine meeting that happened between Master and Swamiji in 1948 on this day. And as I think about this lineage of gurus and what I was asked to speak about today was how do we, as modern day disciples, continue to practice that guru disciple relationship? Um, India has had a long Guru Shishya parampara, and Master talks about it in the autobiography of a yogi in the very opening sentence, where he says something like this: the characteristic feature of the Indian culture is the search for ultimate verities and the concomitant guru disciple relationship. So, as we are born, almost, if you look at the autobiography of a yogi as our spiritual life, it is the search for the guru that is really the drive behind each birth. In some, we align ourselves, and in some, we fall apart. And each of those lifetimes are connected. And then, Master very beautifully ends the autobiography of a yogi with a sentence which goes something like this, where he says, I send loving vibrations to thousands of Kriya Bandhs scattered on the earth like jewels. And I think gratefully, what a great family you have given this monk. And in many ways, that is an expression of Master telling us that we are all his family. And that has been the journey of our souls over many lifetimes. I had the good fortune to see Swami Kriyananda ji in flesh and blood for a few years, the last few years of his life. And if I remember one sentence that reverberated in all our hearts and minds was he kept emphasizing it takes very, very, very good karma to want to know God. He said it on the first satsang that we saw him and in the last satsang that we had with him in Pune. And he kept emphasizing it. And Swami was really old and very ill, but he said this enough to make the room vibrate. And I think today is, in many ways, a reminder of the good karma we all have to have found our gurus in this lifetime and to be on this path. And the Guru Shishya Parampara has been going on for thousands of years. Krishna was trained under Sandipani, who was his guru. Krishna and Sudama, and of course Balrama and others were all fellow students at Sandipani's ashram. And Sandipani, in turn, had a guru. And it is said of Sandipani that he was not a very intellectual, of that stature of a teacher to be having students like Krishna. And there is this story now. I heard it on a YouTube talk, and I'm assuming it is a version, but it is very interesting for us as disciples to hear about the life of Sandipani. So, Sandipani was in the ashram with his guru, and he, while others were very intelligent and could get the teachings of the guru very easily, Sandipani was just following without applying his mind. So one day his guru said that the guru had a little boy. He said, take this child and throw him into the well. And Sandipani did exactly that. He picked up the guru's child and threw him into the well. And then the other disciples came running and said, are you mad? What are you doing? And they got the child out of the well. The child was absolutely fine. And the fellow disciples beat up Sandipani. And the Guru watched this and did not say anything. And Sandipani did not say anything. Another day, when the disciples were coming back, the Guru told Sandipani, why don't you set fire to the huts of each of these disciples? And so Sandipani, being a good disciple, did exactly that. He went and set fire to the huts of the other disciples. They ran and put the fire out, and they again beat up Sandipani. And the Guru watched, and he said nothing, and Sandipani said nothing. And then came the end of the Guru's life. Of course, all of these people, they were brahmacharis and they grew up and they went back to do their dharma in the world. And then it was time for Sandipani's Guru to leave his body. And at that time, each of these disciples were divinely called back to be with the Guru. And they all came, and Sandipani was also there, and they talked about their time with the Guru, and the Guru said, it is time for me to leave the body. And he called one disciple and gave him his mala. He called another disciple, gave him his danda. He gave another one the blanket, another one the kamandala. And they all were very happy that the Guru has left us this legacy, and they preciously hugged their gifts. And then it came to Sandipani's turn, and there was nothing left. And the Guru just gave him his blessings. And one by one, they all left, and Sandipani, in the end, was with his Guru. And his Guru said, I have nothing to give you, but I'm very pleased with your discipleship. And you will have two great students to whom I want you to give all the teachings I have imparted. And so it so happened that the two was a miss from my side. He said, I will send you God himself to be your student. And so in Sandipani had his ashram, and Krishna and Sudama and Balrama were all his students. And he always felt a little inadequate to be a teacher, a guru to Krishna. But Krishna was a very great disciple, and he learned everything he was taught. And then when Sandipani was sending Krishna out into the world, he said, I will give you two great disciples, and you have to impart the teachings to them. And that's all I expect from you. And Krishna said, I would like to give you a Guru Dakshina. And Sandipani said, I don't want any Guru Dakshina, but these two students, you should teach them well. And who were these two students? It was Arjuna and Uddhava. And thus came the Gita, which lives on as that tradition of the teachings. And so the story, in many ways, holds the essence of what our discipleship should be all about. And I was looking at how can I make it something crisp and easy for us to remember, kind of dipping into how I have struggled and gotten up over the last 20 odd years that I've been on this path. And I thought, it is a legacy and it is a lineage. And so L is a good alphabet to work with. And I thought three L's, which kind of summarize in some ways modern guru disciple, parampara. So we live in a very distracted world, and it is far more challenging than the sages who were training their disciples in the jungle with no connectivity. And they just lived their life and they observed their guru. And so there were teachings which were through words, there were books that were taught, and there were living examples that were imparted by those gurus. And they so absorbed all of that, they got the essence of it, and they set out to search for the ultimate truths and lived the guru disciple relationship. So fundamentally, I think when we come new on the path, one of the expectations is to learn the teachings and learn them well. So that's the first L, to learn the teachings and learn them well, and not get obsessed with the techniques. The techniques are just an aid, but the real thing is the second L, which is how you live the teachings. I think that's an important part of how we live our lives, that how do we practice that day in and day out. And I'm remembering this beautiful line from Jyotishji where he says that the spiritual path is a very narrow path, and God and the ego are elbowing for space on that path. So every other day, the ego shows up in some form or the other, right? And on some days, it elates us and makes us arrogant, and on other days, it really deflates us and makes us feel inadequate. And these are both extremes of the ego which plays out in our life. And what do we do then? We compare ourselves to others. And what happens when we engage in that comparison? Everybody else seems to be living a perfect life. They just have the perfect job, they have a loving family, and the perfect income, and the perfect spiritual life, and they speak so beautifully, they live so beautifully, and we feel that, oh, poor me, why is it so bad? But what we are seeing is a very curated life of people. Everyone, and if in this room we looked at it, we would see in our lives there are so many things which are either dysfunctional or hurting or struggles or ailments or broken relationships. We are all going through our own struggles, and that has come to us from other lifetimes. Those are the lessons that we needed to learn as we live this life. So no one is better off than other. I still am to come across, okay, half a century of wisdom here. I'm yet to come across someone whose life is looking like a graph like that. Of course, these dudes on the altar had it, but I don't think as human beings I've seen anyone who has had that kind of a graph. So it's always looking more like an ECG graph. He might not exactly agree to it, but you know what I'm saying. Yeah, it's going up and down. And that's what life is. And at the end of the day, the teachings are all about, can we live what we learned in those less perfect moments of our lives? That's the expectation that the gurus have of us. And like Amarji was saying, reading in that bit, I watched you like a bird, is what Babaji said to Lahari Mahashaya. They're watching us like birds, watching their little ones. When are you ready to fly? And when your wings are clipped a little bit, how do you deal with that drama? I think that's really the essence of discipleship. Swami was a living role model of how he worked with all of his imperfections and he hid none of them. And I think that's what was in many ways his dharma, to make us realize that, despite all those struggles, he had many of those tests that he had to face. There were so much of things that happened around his serving. They took away everything from him. He had to rebuild, but he was on a mission, and his love for Master is what saw him through all of this. So I think the third L, which we have to remember, is our love for God and gurus, which, when perfected, is when our life becomes more stable, and when we can open ourselves to higher aspirations. And in many ways, loving God and gurus is not easy in our times, in modern times. There are so many other things that we love, right? We love experiences, we love luxuries, we love money, we love power, we love fame. And Swami talked about this. He said these are all going to be obstacles on the path. And the question for us to ask ourselves is, what am I loving? And one of the struggles that we all have as disciples is, we know this is what we should do. We have had access to all these teachings. We have learned all these practices. Why do you keep this veil? And Divine Mother gives us all the toys that we want till finally we ask for her. And there are even so many beautiful Bengali chants which talk about it and say, do not ask for me, because when I ask, I give myself away. And so that's a very difficult place to reach. And one of the things also was talking of the lineage of gurus, Sri Yukteswar ji, right? I would ask you, what's your relationship with Sri Yukteswar ji? Mine's been very troubled. I look at the altar and I see his gaze and I feel there's something wrong with me in the moment. I've never, felt kind of confident in front of Sri Yukteswar ji. It's just that gaze, which is so deep. And it's like he says, I know what you're up to. And that's not what I should be up to. And it's that guilt relationship. But the beautiful thing that Master emphasized was that he was hard on the outside, but deep inside, he was very soft and loving. And in all our lives, when we have a desire like that, it will manifest. So I'll share one small experience that I had with Sri Yukteswar ji. And I'm looking at Bhagyashri. This was a runaway trip, short trip that we did to Puri for the first time. So I really wanted to go to Puri, and she also wanted to go. And this was during the pandemic. And both our husbands told us that there is a cyclone coming, please do not go. And we ignored that and we went to Puri. And one day we had a good time. The second day, the cyclone Javed was landing right where the shore where our hotel was. So we had to kind of quickly exit Puri. And a lot of things happened. There was a divine protection. So we wanted to badly see Sri Yukteswar ji's ashram, the Karar ashram in Puri, where his samadhi is. And so somehow by fluke, we got a taxi which was willing to take us to Yukteswar ji's ashram, to Jagannath Puri temple, and then take us back to Bhubaneswar. The taxi driver did not know that there was a cyclone. So and we went to Sri Yukteswar ji's ashram. And we were at the gate, and the gate was locked. And so we rang a bell, and a young monk came. And he said, why are you here? And we said, we want to go and meditate at Sri Yukteswar ji's samadhi. He said, the district collector has said that the Omicron virus is there and nobody should be allowed inside. And we are saying, like, we came from Pune, how can you do this to us? And he said, don't you understand? I don't have the authority to let anybody in. And he walked away. And my friend, being an obedient one, was like, okay, nahi ho raha, let's go. And I was holding onto that gate and challenging Sri Yukteswar ji, saying, we've come all the way, can't you let us in? And my eyes were flowing with tears because I'd never been to any of his places. The other gurus I have had a chance to go. And I was just standing there and crying helplessly. And she's kind of holding me and saying, let's go back into the car and go from here. The cyclone's coming. And I appreciate her understanding and acceptance. And look at my stubbornness. And then we saw that monk come back. And he opened the gate and he gave the bunch of keys and said, when you go back, just give it and go. And so we went inside. And that was, for me, a moment of when Sri Yukteswar ji actually invited us in. And it was a good desire. Not all my desires are very good desires, but these good ones. And that's true for all of us. The masters go to great extents to fulfill. They show us our place, and then they give us what we are looking for. And what they give us is a loving protection. And modern day discipleship is like, I was looking at that story that Aditya shared of the phone, and don't you have one of these? The problem is we all have one or more of these today. And it's constantly pulling us away from what we should be doing. And that's just one part of it, but we live very distracted lives. We live a world which is going through a lot of trouble. And I think as those jewels, as Kriya yogis scattered on the earth, we have a job to do, which is to hold this family together and be inspiring to those who come on the path and help them also live those lives. And which is where God calls us to serve in many different ways. It may not be a very great, very public seva that is asked of us, but very little ways. And how we respond in those moments is the essence of our discipleship. And sometimes we feel overwhelmed. And I think both Aditya and Amarji referred to this, that just remembering in those moments that it is not us who are doing what is needs to be done. God is the doer. And just learning that took me many years. And I think that's one of the lessons that, it is our ego that thinks that I am the doer, but we are not. We are just instruments, we are just channels. And so, the real ask of us is how can we keep that channel open and clean by learning the teachings, by living the teachings, and by loving God and Guru. And that's really the legacy of this lineage, that before that, householders did not have access to these teachings. And there are so many paths on this world, in this world, and there are so many gurus. Rarely have I come across any guru who refers to his guru or her guru. Many of them position themselves as I am the guru. And here we are on a path where Swamiji always said that the guru was Yogananda and he is only channeling his teachings, his blessings, and helping us work towards our spiritual progress. And I think that in many ways is a proof, if I look at it um, from a lens of, discretion, that those are pure teachings. And those pure teachings, when we talk of living discipleship in the modern day, is not just about your spiritual life. It is not just the technique of Kriya Yoga that was given to us. The techniques that were given to us is how to eat, how to take care of your body, how to study, how to concentrate, how to run successful work that you do, how to sing, how to read, how to study, how to raise children, how to live a perfected marriage, how to, how to heal yourself. I mean, the list goes on and on. And there is tremendous power that the masters have put behind us. We underestimate the capacity and the capability that they have put behind us. And when we underestimate that is when we think we are not good enough. But there is that divine protection, and that is the promise. 1,000 million times with bleeding feet, I will come back as long as one stray brother is left on the wayside, was what Master promised. And he said that I or one of the gurus will be there for you when you leave this body and move to the next world. And those are great promises. In my work, I used to travel to a lot of vague airports, and in some countries you can't even read what is written because they are in other languages, and you feel pretty lost. And you're thinking how to navigate, how to catch the connection. And here in our lives, the biggest flight we will take will be at the end of our lives. And here is a promise that I or one of the masters will be there to receive you. That's the promise of living the life of Kriya till the end. But then Swami also added that it is not like somehow very passively, practicing one or two kriyas till the end of your life. That's not what it is. And Master talked about it. You can't, if you're going to New York, you can't, go halfway or sleep at the gates, and you don't get to your ultimate goal. So it requires us to put a tremendous amount of energy and exercise all our faith and all our love and all our devotion to be able to see this life of Kriya to the end. And while we do that, one of the big obstacles we will face is that of being loyal to the teachings. You can learn the teachings, you can live the teachings, you can love the gurus, but just in a jiffy, all of this can be taken away. And that is a very serious threat. And I see it happen to a lot of people around us. We just start deluding ourselves, saying, I don't have a living guru, for instance. Whereas it's a matter of an imperfection in our own practice that makes us think that we don't have a living guru. Because the guru is very living all the moment and is wanting to protect us and guide us and give us the solutions we need in every moment. We just have to remember to ask, and they're more than eager to help us. About 20 years ago, when I was going through my course of Raja Yoga, there were about 18, 19 of us in that group. And when I look back at the end of these 2 decades, um, there are just three of us who continue on that path. And both Master and Swami said this, that the pass rate on this path is very low. But the reward, what exam are we talking about, is about sainthood, right? Now, these three people, I don't know what will happen to them in the next 20 years. Okay. But for now, those are the only. So that means 17, 16, 17 people dropped off. And if all of you thought about the groups in which you learned and you took your discipleship, you would find many missing. And they go to another path. There was one particular fellow disciple who was very gifted, very intelligent, very smart, and she was very close to Swami. And she, just like a couple of years later, had this thing that this path is not fast enough. I'm not getting, visions out of doing Kriya, and I want to experience. And Swami said that you have to ready yourself for something like this. This is not the express darshan we have in the temples. You have to be ready to be able to receive the power that is there in these teachings. And she was impatient. And when we start doubting, one of the best things to do is to quickly grab another friend who is strong on the path. That's why satsang is so important. You have to be connected to some people. And so she found this other Swami who was teaching in the Himalayas, and she went to him. And he was a tantric. And in less than a couple of months, she lost her mental balance completely. She had a young daughter. She lived in the same colony as me, and we were living in Gurgaon then. And her daughter was the same age as my daughter. And it was a beautiful family. And she started suing her husband, and she disowned her daughter, and a whole bunch of things. She was getting into police cases. She was completely gone. And I couldn't believe that this happened. She was a brilliant woman, had come out of IIM Ahmedabad. So, she had ticked all the boxes of intellect. But it is just that how delusion can come at us. And these are things that happen really. So we have to be careful when somebody promises something which is too good to be true, and when we are impatient, because the time it is taking us is the time that we are actually taking to clear out the impurities in our own life from this and other lifetimes. And unless that happens and we have that state achieved, which is the basic for us to progress, there are no shortcuts. And sometimes it takes many lifetimes. So just remembering that, can I learn the teachings well? And which means, listening to the talks, reading the books, participating in events that are happening, and really serving in ways that are uplifting. Because what do the masters want out of us? They just want us to help raise consciousness in this world. That's what he's referring to as the jewels on earth, the thousands of Kriya yogis. So raising consciousness, how can we uplift other people's consciousness in whatever we do? One another thing. So, the loyalty to the teachings is very important. And the moment it just happens with somebody randomly saying, would you like to come to this event? And then you go to that event, and then, somebody else who's put another gurus, living guru. She said, I need a living guru. She's put on the altar. And in my head, I was thinking, why would you want to do that? You've been on this path for so long. But she said, I want a living guru. So is Master dead? But she didn't like it when I said that. And that happen, it can happen to any of us. There is no guarantee because, it is the ego and God elbowing on that narrow path. So even that commitment to stay on the path and stay true to the teachings and stay loyal to the teachings is a very, very, it takes very, very good karma to be able to do that. And so that whole piece on loyalty is a very important aspect. You could feel drawn, you'll say, oh, I'm just looking. But that looking becomes shopping, and the shopping then ends up in, and Master was very clear. So to that extent, I think we have both Krishna and Christ on the altar. It's a very inclusive practice. We are not like this is the thing is the fact that there is a divine ray to which we get attuned when we choose a particular path, and it is that ray that Master has shared with each one of us as we took our discipleship vows and as we took our Kriya initiations. And there is a sanctity and purity to that. And in many ways, when you park that and go and practice other things, that purity is lost. And that is when doubt and comparisons and other things happen to us. And then comes a point where Master says, okay, I'll have to withdraw my ray from you. And that's when we fall. And there are stories, so many of them, like one particular monk, he was falling off and he said it's going to take him 200 lifetimes to come back to where he is leaving right now. And he indeed left. So delusion is very real. Competition is very real. There are a lot of gurus who are wanting to recruit a lot of people. and there's nothing right or wrong. I mean, there is a reason why they've been put there. There are people who need that. We all start somewhere. It's not to feel that pompously that, hey, I'm on the right path and this is the right route and all of that. But the fact that Master and all of our gurus have put a lot of attention, loving attention and care, and are nurturing our discipleship. So how do we make sure that we return the favor in how we live our lives and how we evolve spiritually? So wishing you many, many blessings on this special day. And we will end by just briefly meditating for 2 minutes, and then we will offer the flowers. Adityaji might want to do an arti, and then we'll offer the flowers to the gurus and we'll close. So I invite you to meditate for 2 minutes, visualizing the aura of the masters surrounding you and expanding your aura and sending you rays of light, blessings, and divine love. to play that Prabhu Main Tera Hamesha. Tushar spin.
My Lord, I will be thine always. My Lord, I will be thine always. I may go far, farther than the stars. I may go far, farther than the stars. But I will be thine always. My Lord, I will be thine always. Devotees may come, devotees may go. Devotees may come, devotees may go. But I will be thine always. My Lord, I will be thine always. When I die, look into mine eyes. When I die, look into mine eyes. They will mutely say, I will be thine always. My Lord, I will be thine always. I may go far, farther than the stars. I may go far, farther than the stars. But I will be thine always. My Lord, I will be thine always. Devotees may come, devotees may go. Devotees may come, devotees may go. But I will be thine always. My Lord, I will be thine always. When I die, look into mine eyes. When I die, look into mine eyes. They will mutely say, I will be thine always. My Lord, I will be thine always. Hare मैं तेरा हमेशा, हरे मैं तेरा हमेशा. दूर मैं जाऊं तारों में रहूं, दूर मैं जाऊं तारों में रहूं. लेकिन मैं तेरा हमेशा, हरि मैं तेरा हमेशा. भक्त जन आवे, भक्त जन जावे. भक्त जन आवे, भक्त जन जावे. लेकिन मैं तेरा हमेशा, हरे हरे मैं तेरा हमेशा, हरे मैं तेरा हमेशा. मैं जब मरूं अखियों को देखो, मैं जब मरूं अखियों को देखो. वो तुझे कहे मैं तेरा हमेशा, Hari मैं तेरा हमेशा, हरि मैं तेरा हमेशा, हरि हरि मैं तेरा हमेशा। दूर मैं जाऊं तारों में रहूं, दूर मैं जाऊं तारों में रहूं, लेकिन मैं तेरा हमेशा, हरि मैं तेरा हमेशा। My Lord, I will be thine always. My Lord, I will be thine always. I may go far, farther than the stars. I may go far, farther than the stars, but I will be thine always. My Lord, I will be thine always. Devotees may come, devotees may go, devotees may come, devotees may go, but I will be thine always. My Lord, I will be thine always. My Lord, I will be thine always. My Lord, I will be thine always. When I die, look into mine eyes. When I die, look into mine eyes. They will mutely say, I will be thine always. They will mutely say, I will be thine always. My Lord, I will be thine always. My Lord, I will be thine always. I may go far, farther than the stars. I may go far, farther than the stars, but I will be thine always. My Lord, I will be thine always. My Lord, my Lord, I will be thine always. Devotees may come, devotees may go, devotees may come, devotees may go, but I will be thine always. My Lord, I will be thine always. My Lord, I will be thine always. When I die, look into mine eyes. When I die, look into mine eyes. They will mutely say, they will mutely say, oh, they will mutely say, I will be thine always. My Lord, I will be thine always. I may go far, farther than the stars. I may go far, farther than the stars, but I will be thine always. Hari मैं तेरा हमेशा, हरि मैं तेरा हमेशा दूर में जाऊं तारो मेरा दूर में जाऊं तारो मेरा.
Let's take a moment to gather these blessings, the wisdom, the devotion we have felt, the presence of Swamiji, the reliving of his moment of meeting Master. And in this moment, let us renew our own discipleship. Let us open our hearts to the Masters. And let us now serve as instruments, sharing the blessings with everyone. Master, dearest Swamiji, saints of all religions, we humbly bow before you all. O great Masters, we thank you for your life examples, your eternal friendship, your uplifting grace, and most importantly, your love for our souls. Help our suffering, our service and meditations, that we may feel your presence ever more expansively and use us as instruments to bring these blessings into the lives of all our brothers and sisters. We are your children. Live in our hearts always. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Thank you, everybody. Lata, Amarji, and all of our friends, Guru Bhais, online and in person. This was a beautiful satsang, and one can just feel why this is called, as we were saying in the beginning, the highest of all relationships, of all gifts, and may our souls yearn for this more and more. And think of this not only, as Amarji was saying, a day in history or time. It happens at different times in different ways, but if we want, like Swami said, we celebrate it all the time. Why, like he said, why stop our communication with the Masters? So let's live in them in these coming days, weeks, and all our lives. God bless you, and we'll meet again this weekend for our Sunday Satsang. Jai Guru. A lot of celebration outside now for prasad and getting to know each other. And of course, we are seeing some new friends. At least I'm seeing some friends for the first time, so eager to